Well, let's start with the single, Solar Power by Lorde. This is Lorde's return. This is Lorde's comeback.
Yeah, she was been basically dead silent since her second LP came out in 2017. Artists that we really enjoy, we really like Lorde's music. So it was interesting to hear her return with Solar Power, which the album cover is interesting, to say the least. Basically naked Mr. Krabs, so.
Yeah, with Plankton having the angle on
yeah,
that.
exactly.
But yeah, it's a kind of slower acoustic song in the beginning. It has like a build sort of near the end, near the middle to the end.
Yeah.
And as a first sort of like pass at an upcoming album, I don't know if it's going to be called Solar Power or not. It's definitely really interesting.
I think the album is supposed to be called Solar Power.
Yeah,
what it sounds
and
like.
so this would be the title track. And it sounds like a good like title track, but I think a lot of people are falling into the easy trap where it's like, oh, this is what the lead single sounds like. I don't like it. Or this is like anything like that. I doubt that.
Yeah, there's no way, because she's experimented so much with her 2 LPs. There's so many different sounds in there that it's not going to be a full acoustic album. There's no way. But
yeah, she's the kind of artist where like one sound is not really indicative of the whole project necessarily. She'll always keep you guessing. Yeah, so
exactly.
It's not even like the Lorde fan coming out and me saying that. It's just like
that's what she
she's
does.
just very different with things. So
and Solar Power is interesting. I think it's decent. I don't think it's necessarily anything great, but I have to listen to it a couple more times to really get into it, I guess. But it's nice to see her return and to have an album come out, and it's supposed to come out relatively soon.
Yeah, sometime this summer, maybe early fall. I think it's understated, which I think like takes people very back because they're expecting like more like drums or some like larger thing to happen in it. But I think like it does like a pretty solid job for like what it's attempting to be like as a song essentially, and sort of like how minimal it is sort of like as a project.
Yeah.
So like that's definitely interesting. The song is featuring Clairo and Phoebe Bridgers in production. And kind of like some of the vocals, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And Clairo also came out with a new single this week, Blouse. That is also similarly very acoustic, so you can tell like where those sort of
and I've never been a super big Clairo fan. I've found her music to be kind of boring, but decent, I guess.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like her music, but Blouse is a decent track too. It's getting into like Solar Power, like you said. Really stripped back acoustic, really going back to roots of that bedroom style indie and everything.
Yeah, so sort of somber story about like essentially being on the other end of the male gaze and attention around that. But it's like really soft, like acoustic track. I don't even like acoustic tracks that much, but I could tell it was really like thoughtfully produced and done there.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, because this is just the MF Doom Memorial Tour podcast now.
Jesus Christ.
Dropout Boogie featuring by Your Old Droog featuring MF Doom. Now this is Your Old Droog and MF Doom's I think third song together, second or third.
Mm-hmm.
And so they this is the first. They've made a couple of songs together, but this is the first one of a couple of songs that they've made together. I remember it's like a really weird like thing like that. But yeah, it sounds pretty close to like old school, almost like Uncle Rappy kind of sound to me.
I actually really like it, but I think it's a much better rendition of your old school hip hop sounds than when he did this Starface project.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That, like, it sounds a lot better than a lot of other like Uncle Rap projects down there. And I think Your Old Droog does a good job of fitting his bars and keeping them newer and up to date while still fitting them in the place of like this old school sort of like cartoon samples, sort of like hip hop music here. Still good. Still the same sort of like meh. This is sad opinion with posthumous Doom releases, but there's that. Moving on.
You have Thought Shit, by Meg the Stallion.
Yeah.
She's just rolling on around it.
Yeah. So Thought Shit is, it's pretty much exactly what you would expect from Meg the Stallion from a song called Thought Shit. Meg the Stallion does a similar thing to Nicki Minaj, whereas like she'll have alter ego sort of like characters and people. So like Tina Snow is, I guess, a more strippery or more thoughtier version of Megan Thee Stallion, which is like no disrespect, but I'm just like, okay. It's just like, I'm not sure where the delineation is, but sure, whatever. There's like a sort of stylistic thing. Still being said, like with the brass tacks and how it goes, Meg Thee Stallion's like rhymes and flows and things like that are really good and unmatched, not just for women, but like rap in general. It's kind of pathetic, honestly, especially more on that later. But she's just really good lyrically.
Thought Shit was really good because her album that came out last year, we thought there was some in there that was really good, and there's some in there that we thought kind of was lackluster, so we wanted to expand a little bit more. But this track is pretty good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It's as ratchet as you think it would be.
yes. And lastly, we have White Walls by Goldlink. This is Goldlink's glorious return. We reviewed a couple of Goldlink albums on here, At What Cost in 2017 and Diaspora in 2019. There aren't a lot of albums on Audioface where we'll be able to get to say we reviewed 3 of them, but we will when Goldlink releases the full album.
Let's see, how many 3 will we have done?
You keep thinking about that. I'll talk about White Walls.
Yeah.
So White Walls kind of takes a sort of trappy-ish rendition, but a little bit slower down, kind of gritty thing. It definitely sounds different from At What Cost to Diaspora, which I really love. You have a Sheck Wet's Disneer, which is really funny. But like Goldlink, which is kind of a fear I had from Diaspora, and I'm not going to judge the album, which we'll be reviewing maybe next week if the podcast exists. But like I was worried that he could kind of get stuck into a flow and a sound, and it doesn't seem like that's exactly going to happen here. It seems like he has enough to be a little bit unique and different there, but we'll see more with the album. I like this. It sounds like really good. It's got a really nice grimy sort of flow, and it sounds like unique into hip hop and trap, and mixing trap and B in there as well. So I like that.
Yeah. So there's been a couple that we've done a lot of 2 albums.
Yeah, we've done a couple of 2 now.
We've done a bunch of 2.
Those doubles are going to start happening more this year because a lot of people, especially artists we like, are on cycles where like 2017, 2018.
3, kind of 21 Savage if you want to count the Metro Boomin album.
Without Warning.
Because of Without Warning. Because Without Warning, I Am Greater Than I Was, and the last album that came out. That one's the only one that, off the top of my head, that we've definitely done 3.
Yeah. Speaking of multiple like albums that we've done, we've both done Migos and Maroon 5 reviews before. And in fact,
I think this is the 3rd Maroon 5.
This might be our
We've definitely done 2nd, but I thought we did a 3rd one.
Check that right now, because I know we did Culture. It's funny, I think we did Maroon 5 and our Without Warning review actually in the same podcast. I was looking around the episode and I actually got the Without Warning review. But this will be reviewing multiple albums. So we've had a couple of passes and tries at we've had a couple of passes and tries at these artists. We'll be able to talk about them very shortly. And give them, I think, a really smart sort of like opinion about both artists, again, because we've listened to them both times. I don't know if I've said that a lot now. Anyways, plugs. That's time for me to turn that part of my brain on. Check out the 2021 AF playlist that we have for Audioface on Spotify, so you can listen to all the cool songs in 2021. You know, as you're going out into open wet mouth kiss summer, you can have cool music and cool tunes and be like that cool person who knows what the cool music is. So check it out in the podcast or video description, and we have all the recent songs we've added there, and we'll continue to add throughout the year. Bonus episodes, we have done some really great bonus episodes on Audioface recently, and we'll have some cool ones continuing in the future. But check out our Radiohead bonus that we did fairly recently over the Memorial Day weekend. It's like a 2-part episode, really comprehensive. People really love that. We've also done Daft Punk, MF Doom, and the state of music in 2021 in general. All these episodes people really love, so check those out in the Audioface YouTube feed at youtube.com/audiofacepod, or at the podcast feed by searching Audioface, any podcast app you listen to, whether it's Apple Podcast or Spotify or Stitcher or wherever. All those links, by the way, are at audioface.show, audioface.show for all those links. And you can help grow Audioface by following us on Twitter and Instagram at AudiofacePod. Same handle at AudiofacePod on both. There's a new Power Report episode that I did with Sean and Caesar where we talk about a whole spattering of news. I got pretty pissed at the Democratic Party for a lot of different reasons, and I think there's justifiable reasons you should be too.
I had to give history lessons there.
Yeah, we had to give history lessons to painfully stupid politicians who are political pundits who get paid salaries that are ridiculous. It's a really good time. Check it out. It's a really fire episode. Powerreport.world for all of the relevant links for that. And thank you, Peter, for editing this monstrosity. Dead Music 666 on Instagram. Dead Music Productions is how this thing rolls.